and welcome to another episode of Keep and Destroy. I'm your host, Adam Luff. This is a Gerry themed podcast where I'll be asking his fans which episodes would they like to keep and which episodes would they like to destroy. And I'd like to introduce Danny Baxter. Thank you for joining us, Danny.
No problem.
So let's start off with, how did you become interested in Gerry Anderson?
Yeah, I was introduced to Gerry Anderson probably via ITV, I'd say. Joe 91st, I caught a few of them. They used to play Fireball XL5 and Stingray, but things really started kicking off for me when I caught up with Captain Scarlet when I was about 13. And that pretty much blew my mind. So yeah, that's when we started getting serious. And then I jumped on the Channel 5 video. I sort of didn't watch these things alone. I sort of watched them with my brother, who was like 8.5 years younger than me.
Okay.
So we're pretty much bouncing off each other, you know. And yeah, that's been a very strong influence in both of our lives.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice one. Speaking of family, you mentioned in the past that you have children. Have you introduced them to Gerry Anderson, or do you plan to in the future?
Well, only really with my oldest. I introduced her to Captain Scarlet, but I said, you can watch it. We've got to watch it in black and white. She hasn't revisited it yet, but she marathoned the whole of Thunderbird. So, and those are the only ones I've got on DVD. So that's the only one she's seen. With the others, I'm waiting to get a bit older. I think I caught Gerry Anderson, specifically Captain Scarlet, at a point where I was still impressionable. I pretty much measure all the shows by the Captain Scarlet standard. Everything that I do is somehow Scarlet related in some way nowadays. So, you know. Even though I've got a band, myself and my wife, who sings, and my band is pretty much based off of the ideology of Captain Scarlet. We call ourselves Captain K and the 11th Hour Reapers. What I'm trying to do with the music is get quite a lo-fi sound to sort of match that sort of Scarlet grit, because Barry Gray had a massive influence in how I, perceive music. Effectively, I'm just into like jungle and drum and bass, but the actual classical stuff that I'm interested in is like all those scores.
Yeah,
really has affected how I see music theory, basically, and what I want in my music. You're writing music for heroes, basically. So trying to get that energy into it with those lyrics is, is quite important for me. It's still like a work in progress. I've managed to perform stuff, but I'm never really happy with what I've done, but the day is coming.
Well, I see on your demo reel that you showed me that you do a lot of animation as well. How much has Gerry Anderson's work influenced you there? Because he also dabbled, as we know, a lot of animation, whether it was marionettes, whether it was stop motion animation with Dick Spanner, or even anime with Firestorm.
Gerry Anderson's going to have to take a double billing with Capcom Street Fighter in this one, but a lot of it is to do with the weight of everything. So, like, you're looking for the impact, and it was a lot of Gerry Anderson's stuff. It builds up to climaxes, and you get your indulgence in the impact of the explosion. You want some of that in your work, but when you're working on animation, obviously it's not real. So you've got to break down how did that decay happen. You're trying to bring that out in your work, basically. So, and if it doesn't feel like it's solid, it doesn't feel like it rocks, then you're not enjoying it as much as you would have been. And a lot of that, I believe, sort of comes from Gerry Anderson.
Okay, and now it's time for Danny to begin his keep list. So what do you have for us?
Okay, we're going to go with Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons, and the episode is Big Ben Strikes Again.
Great choice.
When I first seen it, one thing that really got me was just the beginning sequence and how they tied Big Ben into the music, and just the rawness of just that truck smashing through everything, and just like everything was just so on the edge. Like the Mysterons really could just mess things up here. That bit where Captain Scarlet had to drive it by himself, and he's like every second's counting, as they say, and then the woman just stalls in front of them, and you're thinking those seconds there, yeah. Those seconds that basically caused Captain Scarlet basically, quite a bit of pain. It's just that bit when Captain Blue just smashes around the way with the SPV. We were just crying. We just right on the floor, just crying. Because the thing about it, all those things basically that look like that, they're very I suppose dark and that sort of thing. Is like there's a certain amount of humour we get out of it that's happening with puppets.
Yes, yeah.
It's like you can't believe what you're watching. It's just completely ridiculous. At the same time, you're hooked. So it's not like you're mocking it or anything. It's just you're just laughing at the ridiculousness of the stakes of the thing. And that music kicks in and that countdown is just too much. And it's the best thing about Big Ben, which I regret not seeing Winged Assassin before that, is the fact that Captain Scarlet just had a fatal crash in the episode before, and you think, he's dead. And then you don't see him mentioned again until halfway through the episode. That sort of forward planning of Gerry Anderson treating this kids show kind of like a real proper production, like to really surprise people and, show them something they haven't seen before. I really respect all of that. Going again with Captain Scarlet and its Expo 2068. I caught this on Night Network. What they did with Captain Scarlet, they split up into 3 pieces. And you caught the first piece about some minutes past 1 in the morning, around about when the show started. And then they just show another installment later on, about half an hour later, and then another installment after that. And you got your 3 installments, but they didn't timetable them exactly, so you needed to stay up and watch the whole show. Now, I'm still 13 now, right? And I'm to sneak down downstairs to watch it on TV. And I caught the first installment, and I caught the second installment, and then I missed the third installment. And it's the reaction's been switched. We're back to square one. So I had to wait until volume 8 of Captain Scarlet to catch it. I could not believe it, mate. I don't know loads of things about the Anderson universe. There's a few things I picked up here and there. And one of the things I heard about was the way that Gerry Anderson was very interested in the whole self-sacrifice of military men. How Captain Scarlet was his pinnacle of that. The things he faced in that crate on the helicopter trying to deactivate that nuclear device, it was so ridiculous, all the things that went wrong in there. And you're thinking, all you've got to do is get up there in your jetpack and just pull out these 3 wires. And it's the way things go screwed up. I could not believe it. The helicopter just for no reason, apparently, does an incline, slams him into the back of the crate, gives him a proper gash on his cheek. He goes, "Oh, Captain Scarlet, are you all right?" Yes, I think so.
So deadpan, yes.
He's got that last wire and he's getting stuck. And he gets slammed back again. Everyone's going to die, mate.
And he does.
Captain Scarlet again.
And, oh my God.
Again. And we're talking about the Mysterons. And you're watching on Saturday morning and you've got no prior knowledge of the show. And it's right from the beginning, they show you the intro, goes, fate will make this guy indestructible. You go, okay. And then when the first 5 minutes, he is dead. And you're like, okay. And he's been cloned. All right. You know Captain Brown and Captain Scarlet are dead. So then when you see Captain Brown again, you go, okay. And then he's with the world president. You're sniffing a bit, but you're not ready for him to spontaneously combust.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, with the smoke coming out of his collar and that eerie music, that sort of tingling, unsettling vibe that's building up. Yes. And
I'll tell you what was more unsettling than that music was when they switched to a flamer head, and it wasn't exactly the same head as the other head. So yeah, so we had that, and then the helicopter's flying by itself, and then it gets shot down by Destiny, and it just happens to angle itself towards the car view.
Yeah, I love that part. The whole how it escalates as well. The fact that they've got this problem with the helicopter A42 shooting at Captain Blue. The Angels intercept it, so they've taken away that problem. But of course, yeah, like you just said, it crashes into London Carview, making it the situation even worse.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely credit to the whole team for that one, because to go out on a limb and do this and people give it, I'm not sure if we should even show this, or I don't know where we're going with this, because it was quite a massive departure from Thunderbirds. But I know it's kind of like a passionate project for Gerry Anderson. I really felt the passion in there. So, just hats off, really, hats off. This is Thunderbirds Trapped in the Sky. With Thunderbirds, I'd heard about it, but I'd never really sat down and, absorbed it. And it's only when I picked up a Channel 5 video. The way they built up the episode and the urgency of it, and the way they've introduced these characters to their first mission. And it's so many things happen in there that give you an idea of this sort of series is going to be based upon things aren't always going to go their way. It's going to be down to the wire. You've got this mission and you know, it's a desperate mission, but it's straightforward. Just land them on their gear, and then you got this defective elevator car. That's it, yeah. And it just goes off one.
And also, it's because it's interesting that Virgil detects the fault, but then as the plane's arriving, he's like, "Oh, the fault's clear now." So you'd think, "Oh, why don't they just quickly change it?" But obviously, there isn't enough time, so they just have to take that chance, and obviously, it backfires.
It's like you're right in there, like in the hype of the whole moment. You're right there. That's what I really liked about Thunderbirds. And I think for me, it didn't really happen more than in Trapped in the Sky. I think that was the one for me where I felt that it just really encapsulated the whole of the problems they were going to have to face in the future. It was all encapsulated in that one episode for me. So yeah, that's my Thunderbirds representation there. Well, it's going to be Stingray and it's Countdown. The reason why I picked this one, really specifically just for the end sequence, really. It's just the way they got that intruder in there, and it's got a bomb, and you've got like Marina stuck on there, whatever. And then it's just that music that kicks in. It's when Troy Tempest goes in, and he's got to go out on this one-man mission, and it could be blown up, and Troy, you'll be killed, and that sort of stuff. And it's just so intense. I did like actually Stingray as a series. There's lots of funny bits in it, and quite a bit of action in it. But that one for me really that's my Stingray highlight. So I thought it deserved to be in the top 5.
Right, so that's the end of Danny's keep list. So let's have some fun now and list what Danny wants to destroy.
Destroy is a very strong word.
Don't worry about it. It's only a pun on the Seek and Destroy title from Captain Scarlet. That's all it is. So.
Right, my first one up is Joe 90. 3 is a crowd. And the reason why I'm picking this is purely because of the firing squad at the beginning. It's like, you watch something that's wrong. And it hasn't really hurt you or anything. But it's like, I don't know if I should have watched like a puppet being executed like that. Like, can we sort of see him get shot?
Well, we do cut away when they actually pull the trigger. So it's, they were concerned for the audience, don't worry.
That impending doom of having to see that scene again with a woman getting shot instead. Because I have to pick something to destroy it. I thought, well, that can go. For my second destroy, it's going to be Terrorhawks, Space Giants. On the whole, I have respect for Terrorhawks because they saved Sunday afternoon viewing on ITV.
Right.
Which outside of Terrorhawks was abysmal. You had everything you hated. Terrorhawks was a breath of fresh air. Right? So nothing bad to say about it, except for this particular episode, because I've got to pick something. So when you get this ugly Spirilla thing coming in, it pretty much got half his face is a mouth and teeth. You just don't even know where things are going to go. They can't get that bad, but I was wrong because they blew him up Power Rangers style at the end and turned into a massive giant, didn't they? And then they start shooting at him. There's this trend in programs where if you're blowing the heck out of a monster, it don't count as being violent. And I found it to be a bit graphic when they were sort of like blowing holes out of him. I felt it was a little bit tasteless for me at that time. And I didn't really have a problem with any of the other episodes of Terrorhawks that I've seen. It was just that one really. So yeah, that one can go.
Okay, and we have our first 2-parter on Keep and Destroy. Huh? The hell? God damn it, on episode 2 and already the format's buggered. Well, I better explain the situation. Because Danny actually has a dislike for the entire series of New Captain Scarlet, he decided to select the first 3 episodes that were transmitted. However, the following discussion is going to be about the entire show as a whole.
Okay, what is my problem with New Captain Scarlet? When I first seen the pilot, which I was really looking forward to watching, when I seen it, one of the first things that I noticed that it had quite a high production value of CGI.
Yes, that's true.
Compared to every other CGI show that had been on before that point. And I'd seen quite a few of them, like Beast Wars, Transformers, Max Steel.
Reboot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So we've established the standard. So Captain Scarlet comes in, right? And it's a higher production rate for everything. But then we started having the disparities between Captain Scarlet, new Captain Scarlet, and it was like, you're like, why did I take it down that path? For example, Captain Scarlet and Captain Black are now in the pod, so they need to establish that rivalry from the beginning. You know, very objectively, okay, these guys were friends and now they're enemies, and I thought, okay, yeah, right, okay, we can go with that. But by the time I got to the end of the episode, it was like, right, I don't like the uniforms. I don't like the guys' faces. I don't like the music. I don't like the dialogue. I don't like what's happening. I don't like the changes in the setting. And then by the time I was done and they left it on like a two-parter, and it was like, okay, I guess I'll have to watch the second part now. I went through the whole thing, and it gets to that last line when he goes, the ice is thinnest in the middle.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they dared to patronize us that bad. It's like Captain Scarlet guy says, oh, all we can do is retreat. That's all we can do. Like, give a brother a heads up that you've got a plan. You know what I mean? Don't just provoke him into trying to, you know, second guess you. And Captain Blue goes, no, we have to do this. And he pulls out a gun and goes, do it. I go, what are you doing, mate? That's not protocol. It's just like a small band of vigilantes. Couldn't he just explained it within the same time it took him to take the gun out? Do you know what I mean? It's just, the whole thing was so pretentious and annoying. I can't. Consequently, I did not watch many episodes of that series, even though I could have videoed them. I just couldn't be bothered.
One of my problems is, because I did watch all 26 episodes on transmission, one thing I didn't like about New Captain Scarlet was the storyline, the actual structure. The fact that television had become so sophisticated by the early 2000s, where shows like 24, people can watch a really long serial and keep up with the plot. I really wish that New Captain Scarlet was a 26-part serial where we are developing the show as it goes along. New elements are introduced, new characters are brought in, some characters get written out or killed off or whatever, and then build up to a really strong definitive finale. And we didn't get that. We just got these very episodic episodes where no real development happens. It just felt like a step back, in my opinion. And like, say for example, you watch the Puppet Captain Scarlet, there are several episodes that connect to each other, whether it's Operation Time, where they discover the weakness for the Mistrons, you know, they're impervious to X-ray, and high voltage electricity can kill them. And then in Spectrum Strikes Back, which is a few episodes later, they've developed weapons based on these weaknesses. And then of course the Mistron detector is introduced, and that appears in several episodes afterwards. And of course there's the Lunarville trilogy, so there's 3 episodes that are connected to each other. And yet with New Captain Scarlet, there's hardly any of that. We get Enigma, which contains clips from previous episodes, Homecoming, Mercury Falling, and Rat Trap. And there's a reference to the Achilles Messenger, where they established there's a faction within the Mistrons that want peace. So Enigma's the only one that relates to some previous episodes, and that's it. You could almost watch New Captain Scarlet in any order, and it wouldn't matter for continuity.
What I always hear people saying is they messed it up with the showing. Like, they split it into too many parts and Ministry of Mayhem. And I'm thinking, all right, check this out, yeah? When I was watching original Captain Scarlet, I was watching it on Night Network. They split that into 3 episodes, and I was watching it. And I was like, damn, I missed the last part. Ah! Right? That did not have any bearing on my appreciation of the show. One thing I really hated was the change-ups of the gender swaps.
Okay.
It might be a bit controversial.
Yeah, well, I didn't mind the gender change myself, but I know where you're going, because I'm a fan of Doctor Who, and I personally thought the gender swap made no sense, because that's within the continuity. For me, with New Captain Scarlet, because it's a reboot, that didn't bother me so much. But no, it'd be interesting. Go ahead. Okay,
right. Let me start off by saying that because I have no particular attachment to Captain Oka, I could handle Captain Oka getting swapped. In original Captain Scarlet, we've got 2 black characters. You've got Melody Angel.
That's right, yes.
And you've got Lieutenant Green, right? And both of these positions were like iconic for the time. In New Captain Scarlet, they thought, let's switch it up some more. So what you do, you lose a black character. He's not a black man anymore. He's a black woman, right? So basically, your new female Lieutenant Green is both of those characters now.
That's true, because there is a background character, Captain Purple, who is a black character, but I don't remember him having a single line of dialogue. And I think the only episode he really appears in is Certus Major, where he's in a crowd scene. So yeah,
exactly.
I see what you mean. Lieutenant Green had a lot more responsibility for representation on her shoulders. Yes.
So you've got a black female fighter pilot, right?
Yeah.
And then you've also got a black guy in a prominent position. And then he was portrayed as a very brave guy who wants to get in there, but because he seemed to come across as being young and inexperienced, he wasn't allowed to go apart from missions where he could volunteer, and then he volunteered.
That's
that was
true,
a very strong character, right? And
Yep.
then replace him with pretty much a female secretary. It's so cutting edge. I was like, did they not think it through? and then we lose Destiny Angels being a French character as well. We lose that. That actually reversed the multiculturalism from original Captain Scarlet. They reversed it. They robbed us. Because I'm a black guy myself, right? So I noticed. I'm not one of those people who really like pushes to have black representation in the show. I just want the best character for the show. But don't take one away when it was working. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, no, the show's done. Cancelled it. Destroy it.
Well, I gave you an option to talk about the whole show, so don't worry about it. It's you used up 3 of your slots, but I agree pretty much for the most part.
I've been holding back.
Right, well, after that fiery passion of hatred for new Captain Scarlet, how would you sum up the whole Gerry Anderson experience if you were to pitch this to a new person? What would you say?
I would say that the Gerry Anderson experience is something that will impart something deep inside you that you'll not get from anywhere else. Good, clean, old-fashioned how to be a hero. And
Yes, I agree.
Gerry Anderson, especially in a military context, pretty much hits it. He hits it on the head really well. And I don't see anyone else really giving that insight. I think that was just Gerry Anderson. He owned that. That was him.
Right. So all I can say now is thank you so much for your time, Danny. It's a great list, and it's been fun talking to you.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for having me.
And I would like to thank you, the audience, for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to make a donation to help the series continue, please donate to me on Buy Me a Coffee or GoFundMe. The links are in the description. And this is Adam Luff, signing out.